Hey everybody, going to walk you through the ABAB form project. So you need to get to this screen. If you're not on that screen, click on assignments, and then you will see this, and you click on the start assignment button. When you do that, this window pops up, and you want to click the top one that says teacher assignment. That's going to open a blank project for you. So I'm going to take a moment and just walk you through this entire project, and most of you have already done part of it, but just for review purposes, I'm going to start at the very beginning. Feel free to fast forward if you need to, but it might be a good idea for some of you to just kind of follow along and make sure you did it exactly the way that I'm showing you to do it. So on this first window that pops up when you start the project, we're going to click Browse Loops right there. And it opens up the project, and we have these lovely pictures over here, and but we're gonna click up here where it says loops, and then we want beats. So look at instruments and genres over here, and we want to click that drop down menu and select beats. There's 2,514 beats. That's what it's telling us right there. That's a lot. So we're going to narrow it down by picking a genre. Genre is a fancy word that means the style. So you might want R&B, you might want electronic, you might want hip-hop. And so here's the different options that we have. I'm going to pick pop R&B, which there's still going to be 468 of those. So that's a lot. And I can just scroll and see what there is. So let's click on this one and see what it is. Basic beat. Yep, that's fine. So you want to scroll through and just listen to as many of these as you want to and pick one that you like. Now, one thing that I want to make you aware of, as you look at these different files, if it says that it's like a beat like that, then that's good. That's something that you want. If it says something like this one right here, okay, where it says snare 01, hi-hats 01. All right, that's only going to be one drum in the drum kit. And so that's not going to be a full beat. It's just going to be one part of it. See, that's fine. And then I can... So these that are like that, where it gives you the instrument, that's meant to put several instruments together to form one beat. And you can do that, but for this project, that's really not necessary. So scroll and listen and find one that you like. All right, kind of like that. So I'm going to pick this one. So East Beat 01. This is what I'm picking. Now you pick whatever you want. You don't have to pick mine. But once I find one that I like, I'm going to click on it right here, and I'm going to drag it over to this drop a loop or an audio thing in the window, and as you can see, it lights up. And so I let go and it drops it in there, and then I need to move it to the beginning, so I'm going to click right here in the middle of my track block and drag it over here to the beginning. Don't click here or here, because that changes the length of the track, and I don't want to do that. All right. Now, one thing to pay attention to on here is that this beat, East Beat 01, has a tempo of 73. I can see that over here. It told me that 73. And so what it did is that when I first imported it, it changed my project tempo to 73. Now that's fine. But when I pick another beat that's a big number, a number that's much further, I don't know why I can't speak. When I pick a beat that is larger than 73 or smaller than 73, if it's a little bit bigger, 80 something, 65, something like that, it's going to be fine. 128, it's going to be weird, because it's going to take the audio file and stretch it out so that it's slow it down, or try to slow it down, and it's just not going to sound right. So I need to find something that's close to 73. All right. And again, I'm looking for something that is a full beat and not just one instrument. So, same idea. Find something, click the little triangle, find something that you like, and then import it in the same way. So I did a little scrolling and I found one, and so I'm going to import it the exact same way. There we go. All right. So once I've got my 2 beats, now let's close the loops menu by going down here to the bottom and clicking on that. Just gets that out of the way for me. Okay, so I've got this first block, this first track that is 4 measures long, and I want it to be 8 measures long. So I'm going to use this loop tool right here. This thing is called a trim tool. I do not want to use that. There's hardly, I don't want to say there's never a time you're going to use that when you're dealing with a pre-recorded sample from the loops menu, but it's going to be really rare. So make sure that you don't click on that. If you use it by accident, your undo button over here is your friend, or if you're a keyboard shortcut person, Control Z is the keyboard shortcut for that. So I'm going to click this loops button, and you'll see that when I hover over the loops button, my pointer changes from a hand to an arrow pointing to the side. And so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to drag it all the way to measure 9. So it's going through measure 8. So I now have 8 full measures of stuff. When I go past measure 9, you see it's kind of tricky to see. There's a faint white line right there, and that means it's starting the loop again, and I don't want that in this case. I want it to end right where the loop ends, and it kind of snaps into place. So that's good. Now this second one, I want to start right where that one leaves off, so I'm going to put that at the beginning of measure 9. Now this particular loop is only 2 measures. Yours might be 4, it might be 8, that's fine. And so I'm going to click and drag this, and I'm going to loop that all the way to the end of measure 16. And I hope you're seeing that if you miss and you just, kind of land there, whatever, it's all right. Just pick it up and keep going. It's no big deal. Again, making sure that we click the loop function and not the trim function down here. So now I have 2 beats. That one, and then starting at measure 9, this one. Okay. And they work together, but they're different, so that's cool. So in our 4 elements, well, more than 4, but of our elements of music that we talked about, one of them is rhythm or tempo. So now that we've got a drum part in here, we have that. So the next thing we're going to add back at the beginning is some harmony. So to do this, and I want you to copy exactly what I do here, I've brought my playhead back to the beginning, and I'm going to use this Add Track button up here. And when I do that, it brings up this same window that we had at the beginning, but now I'm going to add a MIDI instrument. Okay, now if you want to add a guitar or a bass, that's cool, but you don't want to pick guitar or bass over here unless you plan to get an actual guitar or an actual bass guitar and plug it in to your computer and record it. And since you're probably not planning to do that, and that's not what I want you to do for this part of the project anyway, click on MIDI instruments. MIDI up here and instruments. Just click on that. And it defaults to a piano. So now, let me move my head out of the way here for a second. Now you're going to click this instrument button down here, and it's showing you that it's a piano. The category is piano. In that category of piano, we have grand piano, and we have this MIDI keyboard. All right. So I am going to, because I don't like the way that necessarily sounds down there, I'm going to move it up to a higher part of the piano. Yeah. And now I'm going to take my fingers, there we go, and I'm going to place them on my computer keyboard, which you can't see on the camera, but I'm going to place my pinky on the Z key and my middle finger on the C key, keyboard, and my thumb on the B, although it doesn't really matter. So I'm play at the same time. Now, don't get confused. The Z key on your keyboard is not the note Z, okay? The C key on your keyboard is the note E, and not the note B. All right, it can be confusing. This note is actually C, D, F, D. So you can see that there's no relationship between the computer keyboard letters that happen to be there and the note names. So that's the three that we're playing. All right, and I'm just going to record myself playing for one measure at a time. What I'm looking for is I want this to be in measure 1, measure 3, measure 5, and measure 7. So when I record it, I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, off, 2, 3, 4, off. You'll see how that goes. I'll demonstrate. I'm going to turn my metronome on. That's the metronome right there. And I'm going to hit record. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and let go. 2, 3, 4, and go. 4, and let go. 3, 4, and go. 4, and I'm done. I hit the space bar, or you can hit the stop button up at the top. And so I get something that looks like this. That's very good. So now I want to double click on that, and it brings up the Midi Editor. If you don't double click on it, you can just click the green Midi Editor button down here at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is each of these needs to start exactly at the beginning of measure 1. So I've got measure 1, and then this is 1.2, in other words, measure 1, beat 2. This is 1.3, in other words, measure 1, beat 3. 1.4 means measure 1, beat 4. And then here's the beginning of measure 2. They probably should have put 2.1, but they didn't. So just kind of know that that's what it is. So I'm going to click on this bar, and I'm going to scoot it over to the beginning of the measure. And I'm going to do that for all of them. All right, so that looks good. Scrolly scroll. Same idea. It's got to be at the beginning of measure 3. Same idea. It's really close, but just not quite. Measure 7. All right. Cool, cool, cool. So now I have chords in the first measure, third measure, fifth measure, and seventh measure. So now I need to add chords into measures 2, 4, 6, and 8. So there's two different ways to do that, and I will show you one way. I'll show you both ways. So let's go with the first way. So I'm going to put my playhead over here at the beginning of measure 2. I'm going to go back to my instrument. So the chord that I want is, let me go back a second. We're playing C and right now. I played it down here, but I could have played it using, that would have been fine. A little harder to do because of where they are on the keyboard, but it's the same. I want you to see the same notes. You can tell it's the same notes because it is in the same place on the keyboard in terms of the piano keyboard, in terms of the 2 black keys, 3 black keys, 2 black keys, 3 black keys, 2 black keys. So this note and this note and this note are all C. There's just a low C and a middle C and a high C, and we keep going up and down the keyboard. So as long as I'm playing C, E, and D, again, ignore the letter names down here. That's telling you what computer key to press to get that note. But as long as I have these 3 notes in that first chord, that's what I want. So it doesn't matter if it's down here or up here. or up here for that matter. Sorry, there it is. Okay, so back to those 3 notes. Now, for the second chord, so this is going to be measure 2, I'm keeping that note the same, and I'm keeping that note the same as before, but I'm going to play this note the next one down. It changes the chord a little bit. Alright, so check this out. Metronome's on still. Three, 4. And 4 and 3, 4 and stop. Alright, so that changed the way that my block looked a little bit. That's alright. So let's click in here and see what we got. Okay, so my first chord is still there, unchanged. And here's my second chord. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to move them over to the beginning measure 2. Now, yours may not look exactly like that. Yours might look like this. And that is fine. In fact, it's kind of a little easier if yours looks like this because you can see this is the same note. G, 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 E, E, E. This one is C. Now there it goes down to B and then back to C. And go down to B again. So however you want to do that, it doesn't matter if it looks like that or if it looks like that. As long as the notes are right. B, E, and G. So then same thing, I'm going to have to go in here and bring each one to the beginning of the measure, click it, and just drag it over. Looks like I was pretty close, so that's good. If you were not that close, doesn't matter, just fix it. So that is one way to do it. Now I'm going to undo a bunch of things and show you another way to do it. So the other way to do it does not use the keyboard at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a... I'm going to click and drag a box around these 3 notes so that they are selected. Okay, so when I click it, selected, draw a box around it, they're all selected. Another way to do that is click one, press and hold the shift key, holding the shift key down, click the next one, keep holding the shift key down, click the next one, and then you can let go of the shift key. Now you have all of them selected. Okay, then I'm going to, on a Chromebook, you're going to do a 2-finger tap, brings up this little menu, and you can hit copy. Now I could also use the Control-C keyboard shortcut. Now I need to make sure my playhead is at measure 2, and I'm going to 2-finger tap on the touchpad, brings up this little menu, hit paste. And it pastes the exact same chord into measure 2. So now I need to click somewhere because I don't want those all selected. And I want to click this note, just the bottom note. You got to make sure you just have the bottom note and drag it down 1 notch so that it is now on the correct note. Once I've done that, now I'm going to select my new chord and I'm going to hit Control-C, or I'm going to 2-finger tap and I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to scroll over. I'm going to put my playhead on measure 4 and I'm going to hit Control-V for paste. Then I'm going to go to take my playhead to measure 6 and I'm going to use Control-V again, or instead of Control-V I can right click, it's right click or a 2-hand tap on your Chromebook touchpad, hit paste. And one more time, beginning of measure 8. Oops. So what it's doing to me at the beginning of measure 8 here, I've got to extend this out like that. There it goes. And now it's showing it. Okay. So what you might have to do is extend this first, and then you can paste down here. Okay. So now when you look at this, I have 2 chords, and you can see the first chord, the second chord, and when I play it, we're going to hear more and the second chord. Now, you may have picked a faster drumming. You might have a faster tempo. That's totally fine. Record it with lower tempo, but it doesn't matter. So it's really important that you listen and make sure you have everything exactly right. And cool. Okay. Now, at this point, now that I've got the chords recorded, I can change this keyboard to something else. It's playing piano right now, but to be honest with you, piano doesn't really fit what I'm going for here. So I'm going to click Instrument, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to go with electric piano. Let's see what that does. And just listen to it. And yeah, that's what I want. So look, you've got all these different pianos. But if you don't want a piano voice, click piano up here. And that's your category menu. So now it gives you different options. So don't pick percussion, because that's drums. We don't want a drum pad or a drum kit or anything like that. But maybe you want a string voice. Maybe you want I don't know, a cello section. So whatever you want, you go for it, just as long as it's not a percussion. It's got to be notes. All right, so we've got some chords and we've got some rhythm. And so now I'm going to add bass. So add track, or like that button. Same reminder. You don't want to, this bass button over here means you're going to take an actual electric bass and plug it into your computer and record that. And if you play electric bass, cool, but that's not what we're looking for right now. So right now we want Midi Instruments. All right, and I'm going to leave it on piano right now. And I'm going to leave it in this octave. So the 2 notes that I want are this note down here, which is C, but it's the Z key that plays it. And this note right here, which is E, the C key on your keyboard plays that note. I'm going to use my computer keyboard. All right, so using my computer keyboard, I'm going to record these 2 notes, one in each measure. So check it out. It's going to go like this. And play and hit the space bar. Again, you can hit the stop button up here. So exactly like we did with the chords before, we're going to go to the Midi Editor, and it's pretty close, but it needs to be exactly at the beginning. So just take the bar, dragging it, beginning of the beat, the beginning of the measure. Okay, that one I got exactly right. And just like before, you know, piano's not really the voice that I want here, so let's go to Instrument. And again, you pick whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a bass voice like synth bass. It could be really any of these things. I'm gonna... No, don't want that. Let's pick a tuba. That'll be fun. Tuba. Now, it's important to know that if I pick an instrument that won't play these low notes, then it's going to be grayed out and it won't work. So let's say I was like, you know what? I really want trumpet, not trombone. All right. And the notes that I was playing are down here in octave 2, okay? And it won't play them. Because trumpet doesn't play that low. If I look at my Midi editor, they're grayed out over here. So the data is there, but there's nothing for it to play. So if I play just this track right now, it's not going to play anything. Okay? There's nothing. And the reason it's not playing anything is because trumpet does not play that low. So I need to pick an instrument that's not going to be grayed out down here in the bass. All right, such as tuba. Tuba does play that low. So now when I go to Midi Editor, that area is not grayed out. I can play those notes. So let's see if I like that. Cool. So this first section is now done. This A section is done. And that's the hardest part. So you'll know that your A section is done because you've got a drum beat up here, you have chords, and you have a bass part. Now we're going to move on to the B section. So I'm going to move my playhead over here to measure 9. And the B section is going to be loops. So let me get my head out the way. Click on the loops button there. And you'll probably have to clear out your previous search. So just hit reset. And the instrument that we want is bass. We're going to start with a bass. Okay, and I want something that's kind of going to go with this beat that I have. All right, so I kind of got that in my head, and I'm just going to listen to the different ones. That does not go. Maybe. Now, remember what I was talking about before. The project tempo, which is up here, is 73. Yours might be different depending on what beat you imported first. I want something that's maybe going to be kind of close to that. So 105, 102, 110, that's not that close to 73. 88's a little closer. Yeah. So I'm going to pause and find something that I like. And you pause and find something you like. All right, so I found one I like. And so I'm going to click it and drag it into... Whoops, I didn't get it. There we go. Click and drag. Just like before, it lights up the drop a loop thing. And then I'm going to drag it to the beginning of measure 9, and it snaps into place. Hopefully you see that. All right. And so... And then just like before, I'm going to loop this out to the end of measure 16, beginning of measure 17, so I have 8 measures. And so now I have... All right, so that's cool. Next, I want to add something else, and it could be anything at this point. It could literally anything except I don't want another bass voice and I don't want another drum beat. So I want something that is not those things. So I'm going to click loops. I'm going to clear that out by hitting reset. And let's go for, a synth maybe. And Hopefully it'll populate my list. And so I'm going to find something I like. You search through here, find something you like. So I've been scrolling around and looking at different things, and I found one that I think I like. Kind of weird here, but I'm going to take it and import it just like that, and bring it over to the beginning just like that. Nah, maybe this one. Whoops, I missed. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to keep. Make sure I'm lining it up at the beginning measure 9. All right. I like it. All right, now I could, and you can do this with yours if you want to. This is where you kind of make an artistic decision. I could loop that out using this loop button, but I am not going to do that because just the nature of this loop, like I don't think it's going to sound good if I repeat it. So I need to find something else to put in here for the next part. Okay, so I figured out what I'm going to put in this second spot, and that's going to be fine. It doesn't match up exactly, but just because of the nature of it, it's cool. Yeah, that's going to be weird. So I'm just going to let it be like that. And let's see if I like it. Now, here's the key. If I don't like it, I got to change it. I like it. I'm going to leave that just like that. All right. So, at this point, we are now done with the first section, the A section, and we're now done with the B section, the second section. All right. So, this is a good point to save. Okay, and I probably should have been saving a lot more regularly, because if something weird happens with your internet, you're going to lose everything. You have to start over again. So save, 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 save. All right. Now for the really easy part to finish this thing off. It is in A-B form right now, but it's supposed to be in A-B-A-B. So the way that we get into A-B-A-B is we got to copy the A section later into the music. Here's how you do that. Click on your first track in the A section. Press and hold your shift key. Still holding the shift key. Click on the second section. Click on the third section. I'm still holding the shift key. Now I'm going to let go of the shift key. All right. Two finger tap brings up the menu, and you can hit copy. Or you can Command C keyboard shortcut. So now I've taken these three and I've copied them, and I'm going to come over here to measure 17. I'm going to make sure my playhead's right at the beginning of measure 17. I'm going to make sure that my first track is selected. It's a lighter shade than the others. And then I'm either going to two-finger tap and hit paste, or I'm going to use my Control-V keyboard shortcut. And there I've just pasted the A section. So now I have A, B, A again. Now I need B again. So same idea. Click. Press the shift key. Click. Keep holding that shift key. Click. Whoops. Didn't mean to click it twice. Let me try that again. Click. Oh, goodness. All right, now I want you to see what just happened. I don't know what I did, but I made a mistake. Click something in a weird place. Command Z, Control Z, excuse me. Undo. You could use this undo button up here. Same idea. And when you do that, it puts it back where it was. So, click, Shift, click, still holding the Shift key, click, still holding the Shift key because that's a separate thing. Click. So I've got all of them. Another way you can do that is you can click and drag to get all of them. So either one that you want. All right. And then 2-finger tap, copy. Okay. Make sure my playhead's right at the beginning of measure 25, which it should be. I'm going to make sure that I have put this, that I have this second track selected, and paste. And there it is. Now I did them all at once. You could do each one at a time. It just takes a little bit longer. All right. So now you're almost done. I've got A, B, A, B, and now I just need it to end. I need an ending. So this is where you have to kind of be creative. I'm actually going to, that's not what I meant to do. Undo. Undo. There we go. I think I'm going to put this one more measure, just one measure, right about there. And, oops. Right about there. And let's see if that kind of gives. Yeah. I don't love that. You could find another loop. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this right here. Oops, I didn't mean to double click it like that. I'm going to take this right here and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it right there. And then it pastes the whole loop. I don't want that whole loop, so I'm going to bring that back. And I actually want just the first bump right there. Let's see. See if I like that better. Yeah, I do like that better. All right, so just a little something. You also could take some of these chords over here, like one chord, and paste it over at the end. So I now have a section. I have two distinct drum beats. They're red and blue on mine. I have the chords. I have the bass. That's in the A section. In the B section, I have that second drum beat. I've got a bass loop, and I have another loop of some kind that's not a bass or a drum. And then I've repeated them here and here. So I have A, B, A, B. I've made up something to make it an ending. And now I am done. And so once you have all that, on your screen, mine doesn't have this, but on your screen, you're going to have a green submit button right above your save button. And you submit that, and I will get a nice little alert that says you submitted it. And then I will listen to it and look at it and give you some feedback and give you a grade. But in order to get an A, you have to have these minimum things. Now, if you've added other stuff in addition to the minimum stuff, that's totally cool, man. Be creative, because the whole point of this is it should be something that you like. So when you listen to it and you don't like it, you got to fix it to make it something that you like, because that's the whole point. The meaning of this project is supposed to be something that you like. Any questions? hit me up on Classroom, shoot me an email, or whatever. I'm here to help. See you guys.